The economics of the coast of Maine has changed a lot in the last 20 years. We used to land 30 million pounds of groundfish and 30 million pounds of sea urchins and scallops. We had a very diversified fishery, and now we have a monoculture where pretty much lobsters do a little bit of ground fishing, a little bit of scalloping, but for the most part, lobster is the economic backbone. And then there's tourism, and that relies in part on having a strong lobster industry and being able to get a lobster roll and being able to see the lobster boats. That's the character of the coast of Maine. It's also the major economic driver.
Nick Battista and the Island Institute work to sustain Maine's islands and remote resource-dependent coastal communities. Communities that rely on two major staples, lobstering and tourism.
The ocean is incredibly important to the future of these communities, so we've been working to give them a stronger voice in the ocean planning process and make sure that federal agencies understand their concerns and know what's important to those communities when they come to town to make a large decision about ocean uses in nearby waters.
One thing that we've been focusing on at the Island Institute is making sure that the fishermen that we work with are identified in the plan. At the moment, there is a big gap in the data portal missing the lobster fishery, which is critical to Maine's economy and these island communities. It has been addressed in the plan and has been identified as a data gap that should be filled. Lobster boats and the lobster fishery are very different from other fisheries that are currently identified in the data portal. The vessels don't require the tracking technology like other bigger boats do. And just the way the lobster industry is designed and set up in Maine, it's very difficult to keep track of the fishing effort. So it will take a lot of work to fill that gap.
The lobster fishery is doing well now, but a lot of these communities are pretty fragile. If you have a community with 20 fishermen and there are 60 or 70 people living there year-round, every family in that community is connected to the ocean. Every family in that community is connected to the fishery. And if something happens to the fishery for that particular community, even if they lose half their fishing ground, that could be an existential crisis for that community, and that community could disappear as we know it. And we haven't had that happen yet here in Maine, but it's possible, and it's something to be alert for. And the Ocean Plan gives us a way to at least start talking about that.